Good morning and welcome to Fat Cow Farm. Now, we're just down the hill a little bit from our spring collection, which is just up on this little ridge here. And I'm going to be putting in our rainwater catchment. So it's a 1,500 litre catchment tank. So you can see I've just made a quick little pad, cut a pad out inside the this little gradient here. And we're going to have, and the tank it sits about, it's about yay high, I think it's about 1,600. So I needed to make sure that the spring was above the inlet side for the tank. And then what we're going to do is have the outlet come this way and go back up the hill to our header tank. And then the overflow is going to go back over to the natural water course, the course where the spring had made. So I've got to go get the tank. I'll get this in place and I'll run some pipes and a few other bits and pieces up from our spring collection or our seep collection, and we'll come down and we'll just leave it on the surface for the minute, because what I want to see is that, that it is actually going to work, and then I can start cutting everything in. All right, so bit of work ahead of us, so I'll see you soon. All right, so we've got our rainwater tank in place now, and as you can see, I'm not sure if you'll be able to pick it up, but there's like a little clearing that we've got up there. That's where our spring and seep collection little dam is. So I'll run a bit of poly pipe into the inlet here. The outlet, again, which we'll sort out today, will then return back into that water course that we have over here that the spring's naturally making. And then that'll be about as far as we go. I then have to start seeing how I'll start with a ram pump to see if that ram pump will actually work from pumping water back up to the hill where we want. If not, then we'll flick it over back to a solar pump system like what we've done everywhere else. So, a little bit more ahead of me, but by the end of the day we'll get some water into this guy, and then we'll have an update about the overflow working, and we can just go from there. So I'll see you soon. All right, so here we are back in the goat paddock, and I just wanted to show you, you'll be able to pick up there the red barrel. So that's the seep spring water collection tub area, catchment area thing. And what I've done is we've now connected the poly pipe coming down through that natural sort of little gully that's been made along the way. Now, you'll see I've left it on the surface here, the poly pipe, as it comes back up into the rainwater tank. Now, what I wanted to just see how things were going to sort of manage itself. And we got this in yesterday, and so we're back here this morning just to sort of see where it's at and what's going on. So I've sort of done it as a complete temporary, because I wanted to see, like I said, is the flow coming into the rainwater tank worthwhile? And I've just made up a little temporary overflow, which is just coming back into this seep area through here. And then that'll marry up back into that natural course coming through. So a few things that I've seen when we were putting this together yesterday, and I think it's all got to do with airlocks in the pipe. So I'm getting like a pulse come through, the water is pulsing from up the top. Now, it's almost like it needs to build up pressure. So what I'm thinking is that it's not, yes, it is lower, but it's not a super amount low than the catchment drum up the top there. So, which is fine, because we're still pulling in some fairly good numbers as a part of a volume off the creek. Now, what I want to do is I want to do and show you a volume meter just for the last time, and I've then got to get some offset brackets and a few other bits and pieces so that I can permanently attach our water feed going into the top of the rainwater tank, and our outlet. What I'll end up doing is making it into poly. So from the 90, I'll get some reducers and I'll run a poly pipe back underground, back into this little course here, okay? So that it's not all visible. Well, all we'll see is just two basically white pipes coming up. And then we've got our outlet, which is just onto the side there. So that's now ready for us to make our track back up to the header tank. A few things have sort of come up straight away, and I was thinking to myself last night that if I'm going to use a ram pump, I'm going to get a lot of wastage. And I don't know if I'm quite ready for that wastage yet. So I think what I might do is just cut to the chase and build in another solar pump. And with that solar pump, I know that I can then capture 100% from here and send it up to the header tank. So we just need to work out where that header tank's going to be for the pump to push. So we'll just need to work out some elevations and what sort of area I've got to actually pump uphill. All right, so what we'll do is we'll jump up to the top of the rainwater tank, we'll do a volume check, and then we can go from there. So I'll see you soon. All right, so here we are on top of the rainwater tank, and you can see the outlet coming, or the water coming out through the pipe and how it's pulsing. And I can hear, I've got like an airlock at the actual 90-degree bend coming up the tank. So this is why it's pulsing. So I'm thinking what I may have to do is just put maybe a T in here, just so that we've got a breathing pipe ready to go. Or in turn, I'm pretty happy to wear it, you know. So it's pulsing, we're getting water, you know. It's just like one of those sort of things. All right, so what I want to do is just do a time check now, so you can see that it's building up pressure now. So it's quite interesting to see how all this is actually coming together. Because I've checked the actual catchment drum, and that's all solid. So it's obviously that it's a pressure issue. And like I was saying before, maybe if we were down the hill a little bit further, we would have a little bit more of a constant stream. But as an overall, I think what we're finding is that, you know, over a 30-second period, or a 15, or probably let's round it up to a minute, we're still going to get those same sort of volumes. But it's just, like I said, it's just pulsing. All right, so that's a bit of a medium trickle there. So we're ready to rock and roll. We'll do a water catchment, and we're done. All right, so that was 10 seconds and it filled the jug. So I'll do it again and go. All right, there's another 10 seconds and it filled the jug. So what I'm thinking, yes, it is pulsing and it runs from a trickle into pretty much a solid stream, is that the volumes are fairly much the same. So again, I'll just do it again. I'll just give myself 3, 2, 1. Okay, and again, another litre in 10 seconds. So as an average, we can roughly say that yes, we do have a pulse and it's building up pressure at the catchment area, but we're still obtaining the same sort of volumes as what we were originally. So it won't take much longer to fill this drum up, and then the overflow will start, and away we go. So I'm pretty happy about what we've got going on here. I need to make everything a little bit permanent now and get all these pipes and things underground, and I'll show you an update of once it's all finished and having the overflow running back into the creek. And then I would then be, I've got to now start thinking about getting ourselves sorted out for running a line back up the hill for our solar pump. And we're working out where we can actually put our header tank. So here's probably another example. It's going back to a trickle. So that's 15 seconds. And that's about 600 mils. So it's really quite interesting to see how much variance we do have. But I would think, look, over the scheme of things, even at 2.4, 2.5 litres a minute, and I suppose that's at its worst. It's absolutely fantastic. And I'm thinking this is why, because we've got that intermediate sort of build-up of pressure and then dropping off, the ram pump plus wastage and a few other bits and pieces, I really don't think that that's going to cut it for us. So I'm going to have to make a little bit of a investment in doing a time investment into doing the solar pump. And then we can go from there. So I think that's going to be a little bit more stable for us. And we put it on an hourly sort of pump rotation per day. And we do something like, 3 to 4 hours a day. Let this fill up and away we go from there. So, look, all about making the next step about your spring seep water collection and actually making it something that we can now use and harness. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.